All right, everybody, welcome to Lockpod, Season 14, Episode 20, Midwest's Most Dangerous Podcast, coming to you live from the Nika IBW Power in Indiana Lake County Studios.
Episode 20, welcome back.
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you Eran Thomson. Eran Thomson is a master storyteller, writer, director, and a former advertising creative director and business founder with experience in fintech, marketing, and product invention. Living in Australia, he currently lives in Barbados. He's a cancer survivor who took on Mount Everest. He founded Law Masters Academy and comedy company, blending humor with creativity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Eran Thomson. Thank you for coming to the show, Eran.
That's a heck of a story
Yeah,
already.
it is. I have many questions.
Good morning, gentlemen. Tom, Kevin, thanks for having me join you.
Thank you. I love the whole setup here, by the way. Do you have the camera just follows you around and you're walking around in like a living room, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Wow.
You have a better setup than we do. What's going on, John?
And he's in Barbados. I mean, come on.
I love it.
He has a much better setup.
Yeah.
You have a much better setup than we do. All right. So, Eran, tell me, Barbados, how's that? Do you love living there?
Barbados is pretty excellent. I came down here about 4 months ago for 2 weeks to work with a new sparkling rum punch brand down here called Chorus. And after my first 2 weeks here, I realized there was a lot more that I could contribute to the business, and I've just stayed on. And we launched here about 6 weeks ago. And if you've never had a sparkling rum punch, keep your eyes peeled because we're coming to America later this year.
That's awesome.
What's the name of that?
Nice.
It's called Chorus.
How do you spell that?
Corus.
Corus. All right, Chorus.
Yeah.
So you're from Australia, now you live in Barbados. You just like bounce around, just helping businesses out and climbing mountains and surviving cancer, stuff like that.
Easy stuff.
Just that. That's right. I've been pretty lucky that I've managed to have a career that's allowed me to have some not only creative freedom but physical freedom in terms of where I operate from, especially post-COVID, people working more remotely and being more comfortable with that from leadership positions. So I'm just trying to take advantage of that as best I can.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from San Francisco, but my parents were sort of vagabond hippies who moved around quite a bit. So my accent's often quite hard to pick. And I spent I think by the time I graduated high school, I'd been to 11 schools. So that gives you a sense of how often they moved.
Moving around, yeah.
I grew up in the Bay Area, actually. I grew up in Napa. So,
right on.
have you been back to San Francisco recently?
Who makes better wine, Napa or Sonoma?
I'm partial, obviously. I went to Napa High School. So.
I'm all about the Sonoma Jack Cheese Factory.
Oh yeah, that's great. So you get around a lot, obviously. What's your favorite place to visit when you're stateside?
Oh man, I mean, it's hard to beat New York City.
Really, you're a New York guy, huh?
Yeah, I love New York. I love the spontaneity. I love the kind of just randomness. One of my favorite things about New York City is it's such a quirky, weird melting pot of humanity, and it's not a single day there that you don't see something that makes you laugh. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of my favorite things about it.
Amazing.
It's a busy place.
So Eran, I was reading your bio, and something really struck me, and it's you've climbed Mount Everest, and that to me is just one of the great challenges in life. It just interests me, but I'm not a big sleeping outside in the cold guy, so that's probably not going to work for me. But how long did that take you? I mean, is that the most amazing accomplishment you've ever had?
Well, first, let me be clear. In my bio, it says that I was beaten by Mount Everest. So I'm not claiming to be in the Summit Club. I'm not. I was fortunate enough, as part of my cancer experience, to be invited on a trek to base camp by an organization called Everest Rocks. The expedition was called Everest Rocks, but the organization was called Love, Hope, Strength. And Love, Hope, Strength is a nonprofit organization that was helping cancer survivors, specifically recruiting bone marrow donors for people with blood cancers. And their mission on this particular trek was to go to get up to base camp and raise money for a Nepalese cancer center. And the way they decided to do that was by inviting a bunch of 80s rock stars along and getting MTV to film a documentary about the whole thing. And to give it some gravitas and legitimacy, beyond the founder, one of the key founders having cancer, they brought a few other cancer survivors along, and I was lucky enough to be chosen to be one of them. It was a remarkable experience, and the whole way up the mountain every time we stopped, the Sherpas would break out the gear and these guys would perform music. And
Wow.
That's
So-
crazy.
So you're up there with David Lee Roth, you and hanging out, singing Van Halen?
We had Slim Jim from Stray Cats.
Wow.
We had guys from The Fix, lead singer from Squeeze.
Oh,
That is so cool.
man.
These are all Dad's guys.
Yeah.
All right.
And Aaron, how far up is base camp? How much of a climb is that?
You know, I should know this. I feel like it's like 13,000 meters, but I don't
Wow.
know.
To what? Okay, let's
Wow.
for those Americans out there, it's like 20,000, 25,000 feet. So, but still, and then the top of Everest is like 30,000, right?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't remember that. What is it?
I don't
What's the
know.
top of
John's got
Everest?
Google at his fingertips.
John will-
Dad,
John will
weren't we
tell us.
just talking about this? Isn't it 6 miles up or 3 miles up?
It's 30,000 feet to the top. I know that, but that is an amazing story. So do me, Aaron,
29,000.
29,000.
That's
Good call,
Damn,
Tom.
okay.
That's base camp, or that's the top?
No, that's
That's
the
the
top.
peak.
Right.
Top.
So Aaron, you were talking about your cancer diagnosis and beating cancer. Could you talk a little bit about that as well? It's just you have an amazing story. It's hard to like focus on one area. It's just
It's the story of my life, really.
Yeah.
And exhilarated by the possibility of potential. I mean, my cancer diagnosis came as a young adult. I think one of the hardest things for people who are kind of, in their 20s and 30s is one of the biggest challenges for people coping with cancer is misdiagnosis or an incorrect diagnosis, right? Because we present typically as healthy, strong, capable people in kind of our prime of our lives. And most doctors have a hard time considering cancer even as a possibility of what might be going wrong. In my case, when I was diagnosed, I was aspiring to be a professional mountain bike racer. I was racing every weekend. I was training every week. And I was getting slower and slower and slower, and I couldn't figure out why I was losing. And one day my boss came to me and said, "You look like you've lost a weight. You should get checked." And the doctors were like, "Oh, you probably need to lay off the booze, get more sleep, eat better, maybe exercise less, blah, blah, blah." Nobody even considered that cancer might be a possibility. I think this is one of the biggest challenges for young people today.
How old were you, Aaron, when that happened?
What's that?
How old were you when you were diagnosed?
Yeah, I was in my late 20s. It's not for my type of leukemia, which is chronic myelogenous leukemia. That's traditionally a disease that babies get, or sometimes older people. It's very rare in people who are kind of midlife. And I was pretty lucky that I was one of the first people in the world to get on a new type of treatment. It was the world's very first molecularly targeted therapy. So rather than chemo, which kind of goes in and tries to kill your whole body and get the cancer cells along with it, a molecularly targeted therapy goes in at a DNA level and tries to stop the translocation of genes that causes disease from happening in the first place. So there's very low side effects, very high efficacy. And I became the literal poster boy for the drug. It's called Gleevec. It's made by Novartis. Thanks, Novartis. And
That's awesome, man. That's a great
story. Let me
New Yorker magazines. You can still find pictures of me on the beach in Australia holding my surf.
Wow.
Very cool. A literal poster boy. Let me ask you a question. When you talk to folks that have had a cancer diagnosis, they beat it. It always seems like once they beat it, they've kind of have a different view of life, right? And it seems like you already had a pretty aggressive lifestyle. I mean, racing mountain bikes and stuff like that. But tell me, how has your life kind of changed, or how's your outlook on life changed since you beat cancer or your cancer diagnosis?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you're right. I agree with you completely. It often can be quite transformative for people. I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways was, kind of relearning how to stay more present, live in the moment, say yes to things, and really just kind of lean in to life.
Love that.
That's the pro. I think the con of that is, for me personally anyway, was that I look back now and I kind of go, I maybe could have planned better, right? I could have invested more, I could have saved more, I could have been more strategic with my career,
Yep.
So there's a give and take there. And I think, I probably swung pretty far into, embracing the moment, being taking advantage of life, if you will, at the same time potentially not planning for having a long one as well as I could have.
So is the pre-cancer Eran in Barbados right now, or is that the post-cancer Eran that's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to Barbados and I'm staying? I mean, is it like just personality-wise, like, or is it both?
That is a good question. So I would say it's both. The opportunity here with Chorus Sparkling Rum Punch is really exciting. I really believe in the team. I believe in the brand, and I'm an investor in it. So I feel like being here to help take it to the world and as best as I can, contributing my skills to the team is a worthwhile investment in my future. So, maybe even trying to make up for some lost time on this one.
Well, one of the things we've got is your creativity, right? And we want to get to this because it's we're moving along here. We've got this. I'm gonna grab it.
Song Saga.
Yeah. Song
You
Saga.
made a board game.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Dude, you're an amazing guy, Eran. You're an amazing guy, honestly.
His life is just side quests.
got it right
I
here.
Love this.
I love it.
And we are going to play this live real quick.
We're going to play Song Saga, and I thank you for sending Lockpod 2 games of it. And we all loaded up our Song Saga cards. So basically, where could I find this? Could I get this on Amazon, stuff like that?
Yeah, you can find Song Saga on Amazon. You can buy it from us directly at song-saga.com. And it's available in America. It's available a lot of places, but I think most people will probably go to Amazon, and that's fine.
Okay.
All right, we just put it in chat. All of our chat's going to go buy Song Saga game today.
So let's go ahead and do one. Kevin, do you want to ask me?
Sure. Let me.
Well, here, I'll read this one out. Okay. So this is for. Do you ask this of a specific person or of the whole group, Eran?
However you like.
Okay. All right. So this, okay, everybody. Song you absolutely, positively, 100% know every single word to and could sing from start to finish a cappella if your life depended on it. What's the song?
Easy.
What's the story? What is it, Lynn?
Easy. Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot.
What's the story behind Baby Got Back?
It
I don't know.
came out-
This is my daughter, Eran. I don't know if I want to hear this.
Isn't that your ex handle?
She likes
It is. It is my ex-handle.
Oh, she cannot deny it.
You are correct. That was what he used to go by on the internet.
All right.
It is my number one favorite song. It came out a month after I was born. I know every single word for it. I don't know why. I've always loved that
When
song.
Lindsay was born, I played Baby Got Back every day. I thought it would be good for her development.
Yeah, that was
so,
my lullaby,
yeah.
you know?
It was your
It's
lullaby.
exactly. It's ingrained in my bones.
All right, Jay Vez, what's yours?
So I pulled this card, and it's one word. The topic is religion. What's the song? What's the story? The song is "Lord of All Hopefulness" by the York Minster Choir sings it, but the story is crazy. It's become one of my favorite hymns. But the story is, I saw it on a movie called Saltburn. Have you guys seen this movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay,
God. That's
so
wonderful. It's a horrible movie.
In
I
this
love it.
scene,
So
he's having sex with a freshly filled grave, and this song is playing. So it's unfortunate that's how I. No, it's unfortunate that's how I heard this song. But it is
It is a beautiful song.
phenomenal song.
That's a
Yes.
beautiful story. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna just do a callback to a previous episode and ask, are you having trouble getting an erection?
He does research. I
Wow,
love it. I
look at
love
that.
it.
It's a twisted
I
movie.
like Eran a lot. I don't know. This has been a
Checking up on
great.
us.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, what's your song?
Well, I wanted to answer Lindsay's card.
Well, hold it. I'll tell you mine real
yes,
quick.
yes.
Okay. Mine is "Proud to Be an American." That song that Trump plays all the time. And I don't have happy recollections.
Lee Greenwood.
From it. It's Lee Greenwood. I was in the Navy. That's the song they punished us to. Proud to be. We had to do push-ups to that song. I swear I know every word, and I hate it with a passion. And now that Trump plays it, I hate it even more. So, all right.
My song that I know this is interesting too, because when you brought up who traveled with you to Nepal, to Everest, one of my favorite bands in high school in the 80s was Squeeze. And so like Up the Junction was my go-to song in high school. And when you brought that up, Squeeze, I was like, oh my God, there it is.
Wow.
That's
Our
awesome.
song. So awesome.
This is cool. We just had a lot of fun in 2 minutes with this game.
Yeah.
We definitely need to actually take this
Actually,
home.
this
and-
would be
Eran-
the perfect game for my husband.
Eran, is that the purpose behind the game? Is we did one round with the card and we all laughed and bullshitted with each other for like
And
10
had good
minutes.
memories.
from one card, and there's hundreds of cards in there.
well, 2 technically.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite thing about Song Saga is the way that it unlocks memories of moments and music that matter to people, and the way that it gets people sharing stories that you wouldn't just organically blurt out at the bar or in casual conversation. And so because of that, every time you play, you're learning new things about everyone you play with, even if you've known them your whole life. One of my favorite testimonials came from a woman who said she learned more about her husband in one night of playing Song Saga than in the 20 years they've been married.
They're divorced now, but it's
My former husband.
Eran, you're an amazing guest, man. I tell you, how much does Song Saga cost? I'm going to buy that. I love music.
Yeah, I think retail pricing is $24.99 US, but you can probably find it cheaper on Amazon. And if you scour around, or if you buy from us, more money goes into our pocket. But
how long did it take you to make that, man?
Game and get people playing.
How long did it take you to make this game? Because it's an amazing little idea. It really is.
Thank you. Yeah. So I guess, the things that were percolating around in my brain were, you guys might remember 20 years ago, Steve Jobs came out with the first iPod and said, 20,000 songs in your pocket. And we all kind of went crazy. Now, all of us have all of the songs in our pocket, right? There's 60 million or so songs in the world. Every music platform has them. So whether you have Apple Music or Tidal or Spotify on your phone, you've got access to all the music. But my music library and your music library are different. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to figure out, how can we gamify that? Then at the same time, I realized that there was this sort of lack of connection happening in the world. COVID was, kind of causing us to communicate poorly, disconnect from our normal lives. And because of COVID, my ex-wife and I were spending a lot of time at home having dance parties for two and trying to buy Spotify. And ultimately, we sort of hatched a version of Song Saga that isn't what's in the box now, but where we were just kind of making a Google sheet of rules about how to be the best DJ in a two-person dance party. So
before I forget, where Song Saga, you can get on Amazon, but what's the website to go to that helps your organization?
Oh, it's song-saga.com.
Song-saga.com.
And Eran, I know you want to do something else for the viewers really right now. It's called the Yes and Challenge. Is this right?
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, so one of my side hustles is a business called PowerProv. PowerProv's been operating in the Asia Pacific region for the last 13 years. It's a corporate training business that helps teams collaborate, communicate, innovate, find self-confidence in themselves and in their team. And we use improv-based tools and techniques to help them achieve that. And a lot of people think improv, they think comedy, but really it's a set of tools and techniques that help you stay present, help you collaborate, build on each other's ideas, be present, actively listen, right? If you think about listening, we're all taught how to read, write, and speak, but no one really teaches you how to listen. Your mom might say, listen, but you don't get taught that. And so this training can really help people do that. And one of the most fundamental cornerstone aspects of improv that any improviser will tell you is this concept of yes and. And so it's about how you use those two words at the start of every sentence. So yes and can be, yes, I agree with you, and I want to add new information. And this is great for brainstorming or making people feel heard and validated and understood and building on ideas. Then there's also the other interpretation, which is, yes, I hear you, and I want to add new information. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you give up your truth. Either way, using this set of words at the start of every sentence can be really powerful and transformational. And so the challenge is for you and your listeners, if they're open to it, is to, just for the rest of today, try using the words yes and at the start of every sentence. And
Yes, and I want to have you back as a guest, Eran, okay? Because, you're a very interesting guy. I'm really honored that you came on our show.
It was awesome how you did that.
You. I was thinking it.
So you're the locomotive.
It was wonderful.
You're back.
So come back on our show in the future. We're about to go on a break, but I tell you what, man, you should be coming in and just checking in with us if you don't mind, because we'd love to have you back.
And who knows where you'll be next time? Maybe Barbados, maybe Australia, maybe San Francisco, or who knows where.
Yeah, you got a Canadian correspondent. Maybe I can be your
would you please? Caribbean.
Yeah, I love that.
Caribbean correspondent.
Call from the Gulf of America.
Yeah, man.
Hey, we brought on the Canadian correspondent, and Trump went to war with Canada, so I don't know.
So be careful.
We got to be careful. Yeah.
So Eran Thomson, master storyteller, thank you for coming on Lockpod. It's been our pleasure to host you.
Mine as well. Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eran.
Good
Thanks,
to see
man.
you. What a great guest. Huh?
Yeah, it was awesome. Really cool and inspirational.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for everybody listening.
Yep.
Season 14, episode 20 is in the books.
Absolutely.
We'll be back on Friday. I'm not sure if we have a guest lined up or not, but we're here. We'll be back, and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening to Lockpod. We love you all.